Welcome back to another episode of Hubler Automotive Group Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Reese Byerly, and after a little short break, I'm joined again with my co-host, John Shepard.
Glad to be back.
I am too, John. And today we are joined with assistant men's volleyball coach and actually the teacher of the year this year, Mr. Craig Harvey. How you doing?
I am good. Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. I appreciate it.
That's well deserved. So this year, you guys have had a lot of seniors. Last year, you didn't graduate that many seniors. So this year is you guys have a lot of seniors. How does that leadership come to the younger juniors, sophomores, and freshmen? Obviously, how do those seniors just lead the team and show them what it needs to be done and how to be?
Yeah. So this group of seniors had kind of an interesting challenge because a majority of them played as freshmen, and then they lost all of their sophomore year due to COVID. And so last year they came in as, basically having freshman experience, and a couple of them were on the JV team. So now they're coming in and having to step into a varsity role. And so last year was an opportunity for them to kind of re-get their footing down, build on what we needed them to build on to kind of prepare us for this year. And so, the seniors coming back, obviously we have several seniors on the team that are helping, and then we also have 3 newbies to the floor, like brand new to the program, and a freshman, 2 freshmen, and a sophomore. So the seniors are really expected to not only lead and be held to high standards, but to also help bring those younger talent kind of up and to show them how we do it and what Franklin Volleyball is all about.
So just kind of for a kind of a you question, with you loving men's and women's volleyball, coaching both, just men's volleyball rising and growing even more, how does that just feel overall?
So it's really fun because I finished my 20th year coaching women's volleyball, and coming down from Michigan, we didn't have men's volleyball at the time. So stepping into that role and just experiencing that as a whole is a lot of fun to introduce people to the game of volleyball that have never played before when they come in as freshmen and sophomores and they just have no clue about the sport of volleyball. It's been fun to watch. Even this is my 7th year in the program, to watch that growth that we're seeing, not just in the state of Indiana, but Michigan is starting to pick up some teams for the club level. Ohio just sanctioned men's volleyball as a school sport. Indiana, I believe, is well on the way to also sanctioning as a men's sport. Several colleges in the state of Indiana actually have men's volleyball. Ball State and Indiana Purdue-Fort Wayne are probably the 2 biggest ones in Division I programs in the state. But then you've got Trine and Wabash, Goshen, which Andy Bennett, former player, is up at Goshen doing really well right now. So we are continually seeing growth and scholarship opportunities that are coming out for a lot of our men's volleyball players. So that opportunity is just opening the door immensely for a lot of our kids. And it's great to see, a sport that I absolutely love, to see it being introduced to more and more people just really, really helps.
So this year you guys started off the season with 2 impressive wins over Southport and Franklin Central. And then you guys go on a 5-game losing streak, but it's not like you guys played bad. You guys played some tough teams. Roncalli, very tough team every year, great volleyball program, Noblesville, Hamilton Southeastern, and then you guys have a bounce-back win against Zionsville. During that 5-game losing streak, how did you guys make sure to keep your composure, not get too down on the season already, just win the games you can, and bounce back? How did you guys continue to stay positive?
So I think that the key is, and it's not always positive, everybody knows when you're in sports, losing is not fun. Nobody plays and competes to lose. And so for us, it's keeping our eye on the bigger focus and making sure that we talk about during the game bettering the ball. So your goal is to better the ball, and essentially you're bettering when you can better every single ball and you better every single point and you can get better. By the end of the season, that's what we want to see. Having watched the men's basketball progress from where they started in the season to where they finished in the season, that should give every sports program hope. No matter how they start the season, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And so our goal is every game to get better. And when you have a lot of our newer kids, when you have 3 brand new people to the sport of volleyball playing on the varsity court, there's going to be a growth process. They're going to get confused. We're going to make those mistakes. And our seniors, and I talked about earlier, our seniors have to step into that leadership role. They have to be the competitive, fierce people that we need them to be, and they have to lead, but yet be patient with some of those younger kids to get them up to where they want to be so that as the season progresses, we can get there. And Roncalli is a good example. They've competed. I think they were state runner-up the last 2 years. This year they are number 4 in the country and number 1 in the state. So they're actually bringing overall recognition to the state of Indiana for volleyball, which has been nice. So obviously going in and competing against them is good for our younger kids, for our JV kids, and the young kids on varsity to see this is what happens. Most of their kids, for example, they've started playing men's volleyball in 4th grade. And they come on up, whereas most of our kids start in 9th grade. So we're already 5 years behind them in that process. And then a majority of them also play club, so they're playing volleyball year-round. So the year of COVID, when we lost an entire year, all of their kids were still playing club volleyball, so they didn't have that reset that they have. So that's a part of that. The other part that becomes interesting too, we're competing against a lot of bigger schools. So Hamilton Southeastern is almost double our size. Carmel is double our size. So we're going into these schools, competing against these bigger schools, knowing that it's going to make us better. And the front half of our schedule is heavier. It's tougher with tougher competition, but when you play tougher competition, it forces you to raise up and play at that level, which is exactly what we want to do. We want to continue to push so that we can get that. And last night against Zionsville was a big example of the progress that we've made and watching some of our younger talent kind of step into those roles.
With Tristan as being a huge part of the team, just with you being able to just see him play throughout the years from start to his senior year now, just as a physical and mental aspect, how have you seen that improve?
So that's been obviously kind of a fun source to watch because he came in as a freshman, literally not ever having played a lick of volleyball before, but maybe in PE class and stuff like that. And so, he was in the net several times. He couldn't get the ball in on a serve, but he kind of committed himself. He committed himself outside of school ball, playing club volleyball, and watching that progression from where we were at freshman year to where he's at today is really, truly an unbelievable and a testament to his work ethic to put into that, to be coachable as well. A lot of times you may see a kid that's extremely athletic, but they don't want to take some of the recommendations from the coaches and things like that they're on. And he's done that, and he's taken that in and absorbed that through playing the club volleyball as well as through our high school coaching staff to make himself better. And that is again a huge testament to his work ethic and his ability. But it's fun to watch that, and that is one of the joys of our sport when we have kids come in as freshmen that have never played to watch where they go senior year, and all of our seniors to watch where they started to where they're at today. Because I coached the freshmen, we had a freshman team that year, so watching that progress from start to finish has just been amazing. So it's been a lot of fun to see that.
With the volleyball season, you guys play a lot of games in kind of a short period of time. And every game, obviously, you guys want to win. How do you guys, and obviously practice being a big thing, you got to practice to win. How do you guys make sure that you're not giving your players too much with too many games in a week, too much at practice? How do you guys just try and find the best balance you can to have your players the best they can be on a game night, but getting the best practice you can to be successful on game nights?
Yeah, and that becomes a challenge because we looked at post-spring break. At one point, I looked at the schedule and realized we have 11 practices, but we have 14 matches left. So we've got 11 practices and 14 matches left. So a lot of times, like this week, we had practice on Monday. We played last night. We'll play tonight up at Cathedral, and then we'll play home at Noblesville on Thursday. We have practice on Friday, and then we have a home tournament on Saturday. So we're going to play this week alone. We're going to play in total. I think we'll end up with 7 matches by the time Saturday ends. That's a heavy schedule to do, and a lot of that falls on our athletes to make sure that they're getting the proper sleep, to make sure that they're hydrating, that they're icing, that they're resting so that they can go the next day. Practices, obviously you have to still teach because when you have 3 games in a row, for example, when we come into Friday, we've got to make sure that we take it easy on them with little jumping so that the legs are fresh, but we still got to be able to work on the things that we've noticed from the last 3 matches. And with some of the younger kids on the program, you're using those matches as practice opportunities and as coachable moments for the young kids too. And that's been the nice part too with our seniors. They can come in and give recommendations on the floor during the games to some of our younger kids to give them advice and leadership in that part of it. So
for example, teams that you guys play, most of them up north and stuff, just do you guys kind of change how you guys play against different teams? Like, for example, like in football, we change our defense or something. Do you guys kind of do that in?
Yeah, so last night is a good example. We realized, watching warm-ups last night, we realized that their strength was in their outside. They had one big outside hitter. And so we watched that, and usually sometimes we double block, which is where you have two blockers go up to block a hitter. So we pulled, instead of having our right sides, Nick and Zach come over to block with our middles, Jace and Chase, we pulled Sam and Tristan over to double block out of the middle, and then that way we could make sure that our right sides were able to focus on shutting down their outsides. And so it comes a lot, you can bring in soccer and basketball to that because we talk about when you have a big hitter across the net. In soccer, I think they call it marking up. In basketball, you call them like in their face, defensively guarding them. You're doing the same thing in volleyball. When that hitter's across the net, you're keeping the focus on them, watching the ball outside of your eye, watching it out of the side of the eye. So when they're coming into quick, when they go to jump, then to go up and jump. And Zach and Nick got some big blocks in the third and fourth set last night because we finally had picked up their faster ball and were able to shut them down quite a bit. And that's always a good thing to see. And so you have to make a little bit more in-game adjustments like that when you're going against really strong hitters on the other side of the net.
So kind of how you've been saying, you guys have some freshmen in there. Someone like Chase Allier, who may not have all the experience, probably doesn't play much club because he plays the other sports. How is he kind of trying to roll with the flow, get caught up as fast as he can, get as much experience as he can while also competing at a very high level?
Yeah, so Chase is a good example of that. Like, he's coming in, we recognize his talent, he's got good size and strength to be a middle blocker, and that's the role he's had to step in. But when you're doing that, middle blocking is a very difficult challenge because you're expected to block at both the pins, so on both the right side and the outside, and block your middle as well. But then when you're transitioning off the net, you also have to find the ball to get out of the setter's way so that Nick and Charlie are able to get to the ball to put their hands on the ball. And that's just a learning process. And the only way that you can really teach that is to just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And you can pick up on those things. And that becomes, like I said, the issue. You can't necessarily replicate that all the time in practice. So those games become such a learning experience for him in that regard. So, and then Charlie and Zach Newton are kind of our other newbies to the court, and there it's the same thing. It's just learning. Zach has, played soccer before. He's run track, so he's got to make some of those kind of adjustments to, hey, this is how we do last night. This is how I need to start doing that. And watching him from where he started to where he was at last night, being able to shut down, one of the top hitters was kind of a nice thing to see.
So obviously you've been around volleyball for a very long time. Whether it was, coaching or just whenever, what has got to be your favorite volleyball moment that you've seen in your lifetime?
Well, there's a lot. And so, in the girls' game, coming from Michigan, we had a very successful program. We had a head coach that had been there for several years. We had kids involved in club process. One of my athletes, Katie, went on to play at the University of Minnesota as a setter and then was competing in the Final Four. So getting to watch her play in the Final Four was kind of a big moment. Leah and Elena, who went on to play at Georgia and Clemson, it was just a fun process to be a part of. And so in the guys' game, it's just watching the kids grow. I mean, just watching where we start to where we finish, to watch all of our seniors that we have now to where they were at as freshmen to where they're at today has been a fun process to see. Owen Mahan, who graduated a couple years ago, for example, came in. He was a soccer player. His mom had coached volleyball. His sisters played, and he was like, yeah, I might like it. I don't know. And he was playing club soccer, so he was coming in, and he grew a love for the game, and so he kind of stuck with it, and now he's playing on Purdue's club team, on their top-level club team. So that's, it's seeing the growth and seeing them enjoy the game that I love so much and get to share that enjoyment with guys is just, it's unparalleled to anything else I can kind of compare it to.
Absolutely. Mr. Harvey, thank you for taking time out of your day to come join us. We appreciate it. John, thank you again. Always a pleasure to have you. And that was another episode of Hubler Automotive Group Coach's Corner.
Hubler is proud to be the official sponsor of Franklin Athletics. Score massive savings on all your favorite brands. Plus, get our 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty included. For all auto needs, just click drivehubler.com. Let's go, Grizzly Cubs!